Babylon the Great is falling, is falling. Joe Biden is falling. Giving all praises to Yahweh Hashem Yahushua Hashem Kakwadash. If you checked out the news today, today's date is March 19th, 2021, year of the hastening of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. Anyway, in the news today, you have Biden climbing up stairs to the Air Force One, the official plane of the U.S. president, and he stumbles and he falls 3 times. If you go to, you'll see a picture right there, and you may or may not see actual film footage of him going up those stairs and falling and stumbling. The main picture that you see here, you see him stumble, fall, get up, stumble, fall, get up, stumble, fall, and he finally gets up. It reminds me of the woman with that alert necklace. I'm falling and I can't get up. That's what I thought about. But this is spiritual. This is symbolic of the state of America. Now, at the same time, there was a meeting between the Secretary of State and the Chinese equivalent to the Secretary of State of the U.S. And basically, if you read anything on the news concerning that situation, the Chinese pretty much made the U.S. Secretary of State look bad, because the U.S. Secretary mentioned about the inhumane practices of certain citizens of China, and the Chinese representative came back and he mentioned, BLM. He's talking about black people. He said, pretty much he was saying that you guys are a bunch of damn hypocrites, because you have major problems with the way you treat so-called black people. Now, I don't know if the elite among China, well, I know the elite of the elite know, but I don't know if this individual knows that we're the Israelites. Anyway, what I did was I got together a handful of precepts, and there's no way I'm going to read all of them, but I just started putting precepts together, and I said I would just go ahead and try to read them quick. I'm going to try to be quick with this video, but if I go through all these scriptures even quickly, the video will be relatively long. But let's see what happens let's see what happens with the Spirit. Okay, this is just, like I said, I got together a handful of precepts, and they're not in any particular order. So let's see what happens. Psalms 35:8, let destruction come upon him at unawares, and let his net that he hath hid catch himself. Into that very destruction let him fall. So Joe Biden, had stumbled 3 times, is indicative of what's happening to America now. When you look at the economy of this country, the current plague that's upon this country, whether real or imagined. The infrastructure of this country, there's no way they can build up these bridges and highways and anything that have to do with America, the streets, the highways, the buildings, the bridges, the monuments. This place is crumbling, literally. At one time, you go back to the time of the 50s, 40s and the 50s, that was kind of the height of the United States, never realizing that in the 60s, mid to late 60s, going into the 70s, you made a complete drop. Your kids became hippies, free love, drugs came into America. Back in the 50s, if somebody, smoked what they call marijuana, that to them that would be like a hard drug. Well, that's pretty much a casual drug. Now it's legal. But when you go to the 60s, the Vietnam conflict, the Apollo space program with the series of Apollo rockets going up into outer space, into the moon, as they say, whether they actually went to the moon or not. That was in the midst of the Vietnam conflict, and when you came back, the whole world changed, man. And this is the beginning of the downfall of Esau's. The height of Esau was really after World War II. World War II, from the 40s into the 50s. Your heyday was really in the 50s. And maybe the first couple of years of the 60s, but mid-60s going into the late 60s, into the 70s, that's when you went down. That's when you begin to see Edomites being homeless, single parent homes, households. So this is the downfall. I can't stress that enough. When the Most High brought down the Canaanites, the 7 families of the Canaanites, the scripture says, I believe it's in Deuteronomy 7, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody can put it in the description section of my video. It said that the Most High would take them down little by little. And it was also said that the reason why the Canaanites had to be taken out piecemeal is because the Most High could have just totally destroyed them, but then the animals would come in and attack Israel, even though the Most High was with Israel. But for 40 years, the Israelites was in the wilderness of Zin, which was in between. It was south of Jerusalem, south of Moab, Ammon, and south of Edom, Mount Seir. And on either side of the wilderness was the Suez Canal and the Gulf of Suez and the Gulf of Akbar. And south of that was the top of the Red Sea. And the Most High said, okay, now you're going to go into the land, the land of Canaan, and you're going to take it. And there was a justification behind why they were able to take it, because that goes back to Genesis 9, verse 25. A servant a servant of servants shall he be. And that's a whole nother topic. But anyway, the Most High raises up kingdoms. I believe that's Daniel 4 verse 17. Takes down one and raises up another. Merely paraphrasing, you can put in the description box if you like. So at one time you had one nation in rulership, and there was a time period where the rulership, that particular rulership, was going to come down, and you always had another rulership waiting in the wings, ready to take that former rulership's place. That happened with the Babylonians. Babylonians was a great empire, but it was the Medes and the Persians that took them. Actually, the Medes, and then the Persians came up in there. The Persians became a greater power, which are the people of Iran today, the Elamites, and they ruled. And then the Greeks came after them, and then the Romans came after them. Then the Romans was destroyed. The Romans fell through their economy, through the fact that they had so many military to keep the kingdom propped up, because you had people looking to take this place down. Just like these nations, the Chinese, the Russians, and these other various nations, they're looking to take America down, especially the Chinese. They have no respect for America. And basically, China became rich pursuant to Revelation, the 18th chapter, through the fact that the Chinese acted the part of exporters, and America being importers. Because at one time, the manufacturing of America was the top. That's what made America great, and that's what made America rich. Manufacturing. You go back to the 70s into the 80s, you had the steel mills closed down. And they really didn't close down. They relocated outside of the U.S. So the people of the U.S., all they are consumers. Anyway, let me read Psalms 35 verse 8. Let destruction come upon him at unawares. The Apostle Peter said in 2 Peter 3, you can start at the 10th verse and read on down. It said that this destruction is going to come as a thief in the night. So it's going to be a time where, things will be looking up, as they say. And they're going to be looking straight up into the sky, and they're going to see the missiles coming from the outer atmosphere, and the chaos is going to ensue. And everything's going to be quick. Revelation, the 9th chapter, tell you that in 1 hour. The only thing that can destroy the Babylon the Great inside of 1 hour are missiles. It said, let destruction come upon him at unawares, and let his net that he has hid. In other words, Esau has a hidden government, the illuminated ones that are behind the scenes that the average American don't know about. So when you tell them that, they look at you like you're funny, like you got 3 heads. And you really, when you go around, you're on the elevator, when you're, at a restaurant, and you talk to people, you talk to Edomite, you talk to Jake, and you see where their head is at. They don't know what's going on. They have no clue as to what's going on. Now look at these people, and you don't even want to talk to these people, man. They don't realize that the whole planet they're gonna introduce the world to the microchip, which that process is happening as we speak. But they don't know because, number one, they don't read the Bible. And if they read the Bible, they wouldn't understand it. The deeper you go into these scriptures, the more you understand that the Spirit opened your eyes to receive this. It said, let destruction come upon him at unawares, and let his net that he have hid catch himself. Into that very destruction let him fall. So this man is going to fall by way of his own invention, which is the most High gave him the technology to ultimately destroy himself. Next precept. Psalms 140:10. Let burning coals fall upon, and the burning coals represent the ICBM missiles. Fall upon them. Let them be cast into the fire, into deep pits, that they rise not up again. Eleventh verse. Let not an evil speaker be established in the earth. Evil shall hunt the violent man to overthrow him. Next precept. Psalms 141 verse 10. Let the wicked, and we all know or should know who the wicked is, fall into their own nets, whilst that I with all escape. So how are we going to escape? When the Lord comes back with the angels and we get beamed up into the chariot, and simultaneously the missiles will be pelting the earth, making the earth to reel back and forth like a drunkard. And we know this is going to happen. We see it in our mind's eye every day because we read about it. Psalm 91 verse 7. 1,000 shall fall at thy side, and 10,000 at thy right hand, but it shall not come nigh thee. 8 verse. Only with thine eyes shalt thou behold and see the reward of the wicked. In Psalms 91, the whole chapter is dedicated to the destruction, to the Lord coming with the angels, beaming us up, and a destruction. So basically you can match Psalm 91 with Revelation the 18th chapter. And Revelation the 18th chapter is one of my favorite chapters. I mean, that chapter pulls no punches. And if you read it with an open mind, you can see that it has to be talking about this place here. Democracy didn't come from China. It didn't come from Russia. It didn't come from Germany. It came from America. and the whole world's, which came from America, which was birthed in America. And that's that fornication. That fornication, let me see if I can find it, but I'm in here in the dark. Revelation. Bear with me for a minute. Let's go to Revelation 18. Okay, it's up here a couple of times. Third verse, Revelation 18, verse 3. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. Her fornication is not a picture of Caesar Borgia. It's the democratic system. You see, when they have the UN General Assembly, you have all these different representatives from the various nations, and they all, mostly, for the most part, they'll wear suits and ties. Every once in a while, you'll see the Middle Eastern nations and some of the African nations, they'll wear their traditional garb. But when it comes to who's the leader is chosen based upon a democratic system. So whether they dress the way their country dresses, the style of their particular country or nation, or they speak a particular language, they become leaders based upon the system of democracy, which is the fornication that they had laid with Babylon, which is America. Third verse again, Revelation 18, verse 3. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, which is a democracy, her political system, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, made deals with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. Now, what is the number one nation that waxed rich through by way of America? China. That's why China's talking shit about America now. They don't respect, they look down on America. They said all you could do is buy my goods and make me rich. Okay, so now let's go to the next precept. Okay, let's see what Proverbs 11, verse 5 says. The righteousness of the perfect shall direct his way, but the wicked shall fall by his own wickedness. So this thing that happened today, that was captured by the different news companies all around the world, the talk is, because a couple of, I don't know, the last couple of weeks, actually, when he swore in as president, it's been about almost 55 days, and he has yet to do a press conference with the various media organizations or news organizations So I believe it was yesterday, he had did a little conference, little impromptu conference with the media, and he was there for maybe 2 minutes. He didn't say nothing, he just walked away. And then now this, him, playing the president, trying to walk up the stairs to go on the US 1, and he stumbles not once, not twice, but 3 times. And the spirit made him do that. Now I'm going to jump down to the 18th verse, Proverbs 11, verse 18. The wicked worketh a deceitful work. Yeah, because everything they're doing is they have a shadow government. It says the wicked worketh a deceitful work, but to him that soweth righteousness shall be a sure reward. So you men and some of you sisters out here that have woken up to this truth, the only thing you can do is hold fast to this truth. Hold fast. The ones of you that have let this thing go, have turned your back on the plow, have taken breaks, you take this truth lightly. Baruch 4 verse 28 says, seek him 10 times more, and returning, seek him 10 times more. So you're supposed to be on fire about this truth. And there's a lot of you out there that are cold and that are lukewarm. And you know what the rest of the verse says? The Most High is going to spew you out of his mouth. He's not going to have anything to do with you. That's why through the years, if you've been in this thing for 13 years, 14 years, 10 years, 9 years, and you've seen guys come in, some of them half-assed, some of them diligent, and you see them fall off. And the only thing they're going to do is the Most High is going to give them strong delusion to believe a lie so they can go ahead and take that chip, because they're going to say, them elders in GMS, they don't know what I ain't listening to them. Well, that's good. So you can go ahead and take that chip. You go ahead and take that chip. Inside joke. It says the wicked, 18 verse, Proverbs 11 verse 18, the wicked work is a deceitful work, but to him that soweth righteousness shall be a sure reward. So we're looking to get rewarded. Let me try something here. Okay, let me go to James 5. That's a scripture that we all should be familiar with. James 5:1. Go to not ye rich men, weep and howl for your miseries that shall come upon you. Now, if you notice with the whole COVID going back last year, March, up until this point, pretty much everybody lost money. Multiple businesses went out of business. Now, there's a saying in the ancient Roman Empire, and the saying is cui bono. And cui bono means who stands to gain or who profits. So you want to find out who the culprit is, follow the money. So you had a handful of billionaires that have become trillionaires. That's the rich. So they don't want this thing to go away. They don't want this system to go back to normal. Second verse, your riches are corrupted and your garments are moth-eaten. Your gold and your silver is cankered, and the rust of them shall be a witness against you, and shall eat your flesh as it were fire. That's the nuclear fire. Ye have heaped treasures together for the last days. Behold, I hire the laborers who have reaped down your fields. You that's in the workforce, which is of you kept back by fraud, because of the Federal Reserve System, crieth, and the cries of them which have reaped are entered into the Lord of Sabaoth, meaning the Lord of armies. And the laborers are talking about Israelites, mainly the elect. Bear with me for a minute. Like I said, the laborers are the Israelites. And since this situation with Biden falling over 3 times, but he gets back up, plays it off like he meant to do it. This just showed the whole world, they're looking at this guy as the representative of America. And America, or Babylon the Great, is looking weak. The only power that they have is the missiles. The only power that they have is their military might. It says Proverbs 16:18, pride goeth before destruction, and an haughty spirit before a fall. So this, if you go to Obadiah, which is 1 chapter long, it speaks about the pride of Esau. That's how we know that this man is Esau. Let's see what Proverbs 28:18 says. Whoso walketh uprightly shall be saved, but he that is perverse in his ways shall fall at once. And that fall is going to be a great fall. Proverbs 29:16. When the wicked are multiplied, transgressions increase, but the righteous shall see their fall. Who are the righteous? The elect of the children of Israel, the sons of Israel. But the righteous shall see their fall. Ecclesiasticus 25 verse 7. There be 9 things which I have judged in mine heart to be happy, and the 10th I will utter with my tongue. A man that hath joy of his children, and he that liveth to see the fall of his enemy, singular, enemy. Psalms 92 verse 11. Mine eye also shall see my desire on my enemies, and mine ears shall hear my desire of the wicked that rise up against me. See, these precepts, I like to go from time to time, I like to go into the Psalms and to the Ecclesiasticus is a good book, or Sirach, because it's basically the Psalms, the Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, Song of Solomon. Song of Solomon is a deep book. The songs that are Solomon is a deep book, because you read it, if you read it without understanding, you think he's talking to a woman. He ain't talking to a woman. He's talking to wisdom, and he's talking to the Most High. And sometimes he refers to himself as a woman, meaning the feminine nature of Israel. Israel is likened unto a comely and beautiful woman, or a beautiful woman. Then, it builds up your faith as far as you receive this truth, and you go out, and your job is to get others to see what you see. Didn't Solomon say that? I will bring you to my mother's house. I will give these spice wine, and the mother represents the school, the learning. The learning, the thing that you teach him, that he learns. I wish that thou had sucked the breast of my mother. The mother is the scriptures. That's in Isaiah, precept upon precept. He that is weaned from the milk and drawn from the breast. The breast represent the scriptures. And it really represents the basics of the scriptures. See, this thing that we're in is very simple. Learn this truth, eat the roll, and go out and teach the sons of Israel. That's how simple it is. Psalm 27, verse 1 and 2. A psalm of David. The Lord Yahweh is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord Yahweh is the strength of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? It mentions fear in one line. It mentions afraid in another line. And now you guys that don't do this work, that you kind of show your face at the appropriate time, but you really don't want to do this, the Most High is going to destroy you. I know tomorrow's going to be Saturday, and I know I got to be out there. And I'm looking forward to being out there. You that don't show up with 1,000,001 excuses, the scriptures say in the Apocrypha, putting that off the Lord. I'm paraphrasing, putting that off the Lord. Okay, you might have an off day, but guess what? The next day you should put up 2 videos. or maybe another video. But if you go a whole week, a whole month, a whole 2 months, a whole year, or you're sporadic about it, the Spirit's not dealing with you. Remember what happened with Saul. When the Spirit left Saul, Saul felt it. And when the Most High took the Spirit from him, he replaced that spirit with an evil spirit. Second verse, Psalms 27, verse 2, when the wicked, even mine enemies and my foes, came upon me to eat up my flesh, they stumbled and fell. So what does it mean when they came up upon me to eat my flesh? Meaning they did everything. Now they're going to chip you, and you're just going to be slaves under Esau. That's their plan. That's what the whole mark of the beast is all about, to enslave the whole planet. Let me read that again. Psalms 27, verse 2, when the wicked, even mine enemies and my foes, came upon me to eat up my flesh, they stumbled and fell. When they came to totally put us back in hardcore slavery, chip us, make us a part of the Internet of Things, that's when the Most High is going to take this man out. So we're in that time. We're in the time of the feet of it in Daniel, the 2nd chapter. You got certain Israel. We don't know, man. It could be another 20. How can it be another 20 years when we're in the time of the feet of it? What time period of prophecy that are we in? We certainly ain't not into the time of the head of gold. We're in the feet of it. Job 20, verse 22 and verse 23. In the fullness of his sufficiency, the his is talking about the elite. He shall be in straits. Look up that word, straits. Every hand of the wicked. Now that word, this is when you got to know Hebrew. The word wicked is not talking about Esau. I believe the word is malium, which means laborer, shall come upon him. Meaning the poor, they're going to retaliate. I'm sorry, Aimal, which means laborer, sufferer, wretched one, laborer, workman, sufferer. And that represents us, toiler. And a precept should come to mind is James 5 again. Should go back to James 5. Because it mentions the laborers. See, that's why these Christians can't get these, they can't, interpret these precepts. Because the Spirit got to work with you. I will send you the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit is a spirit that comes along with this book. If this spirit is not with you, you can read the book all you want. You can write it like Edomites. They write books and they'll write dictionaries on the scriptures, but they spiritually don't understand what's going on. They know that they're Edomites through research, but they're not going to accept the fact that they're Edomites. Jeremiah 18, verse 23. Let's see what that says. Yet, Lord Yahweh, thou knowest all their counsel against me, to slay me. Forgive not their iniquity, neither blot out their sin from thy sight, but let them be overthrown before thee. Deal thus with them in the time of thine anger. Now Jeremiah was against Israel as well, because they attempted to kill Jeremiah. See, Jeremiah was cursing Jake out. He was hating on Jake. But this now applies to Esau. How does it apply to Esau? Deuteronomy 30, verse 7. All the curses that came upon us will now go upon our enemies. Jeremiah 46, verse 6. Let not the swift flee away, nor the mighty man escape. They shall stumble and fall forward toward the north by the river Euphrates. Now, the precept that immediately came to my mind was two precepts. Because when you read these scriptures, you might say, well, wait a minute, that's talking about Israel. Like, for example, Amos 9, where the Most High said, I will destroy it from off the face of the earth. I was talking about Israel. But now that precept applies to Esau. And he did destroy Israel from off the face of the earth. He scattered them. So he's going to do the same thing to Esau. Let me read that again. Jeremiah 46, verse 6. Let not the swift flee away, nor the mighty man escape. They shall stumble, Esau shall stumble, and fall toward the north by the river Euphrates, because that great battle of Armageddon is going to take place in that region, the Levant, which the great river Euphrates is smack dab in the middle of the Levant. Also known as the Fertile Crescent. Revelation 9. I'll start from the 13th verse, Revelation 9, verse 13. And the sixth angel sounded, and I heard a voice from the four horns of the golden altar, which is before the Most High, saying to the sixth angel, which had the trumpet, and we're in between the sixth angel and the seventh angel. The seventh angel, or the seventh trumpet, is getting ready to be sound. It says, loose the four angels which are bound in the great river Euphrates. And the four angels were loose, which were prepared for an hour and for a day and for a month and for a year, for to slay the third part of men. The third part of men represents Esau, the sons of the wicked. Also here in Revelation 16, and this is a great chapter right here. Revelation 16. Revelation 16, verse 11, and blaspheme the Most High heaven because of their pains and their sorrows, and repented not of their deeds. That's Esau. Well, when you go up, but you really got to read the whole chapter, but which I'm not going to do. Revelation 16, verse 2, and the first went and poured out. Should I start at 1? And poured out, verse 2, and poured out his vial upon the earth, and there fell a noisome and grievous sore, which is a cancer, upon the men which had the mark of the beast, and upon them which worship his image. So anybody accepts that mark of the beast, wherever they receive that mark, they're gonna suffer cancer. It says 11 verse, Revelation 16, verse 11, and blaspheme the Most High heaven because of their pains and their sores. Go back to the second verse. A grievous sore, a cancer, and repenting not of their deeds. Because you ain't going to just get the chip, the mark of the beast, and all of a sudden the Most High is going to forgive you, or you're going to take a tweezers and pull it out. Because a great number of Israelites going to take that chip too. And they're going to die the death that was set up and prepared for Esau. It said 12 verse. And the sixth angel poured out his vial upon the great river Euphrates. There it goes again, the Levant. And smack dab in the middle of the Levant. And the water thereof was dried up, that the way of the kings of the east might be prepared. The way of the kings of the east are the Middle Eastern nations. And Russia is going to back them up, pursuant to Ezekiel 38. It says, and I saw 3 unclean spirits like frost come out of the mouth of the dragon and out of the mouth of the beast. The beast, we know what the beast is. The dragon is interchangeable with the beast, meaning the first dragon was the Roman Empire, and the dragon today represents also the beast, but it's the brain of the beast, so to speak, coming out of London, England, coming out of the secret government. And out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet, which is this false Christianity. For they are the spirits of devils working miracles, technology, which go forth unto the kings of the earth and of the whole world. Now that technology, their miracles, part of their miracles is that the microchip. It says, and of the whole world, to gather them to the battle of that great day of the Most High Almighty, because the Most High is going to gather them together. 15 verse, behold, I come as a thief, and we read that earlier. Behold, it speaks about coming unawares. Let me bring that back up again. I believe that's Psalms 35, verse 8. Let's see if I'm correct. Yep, Psalm 35, verse 8. Let destruction come upon him at unawares, and let his net that he hath hid catch himself. Into that very destruction let him fall. We back in Revelation 16, verse 14. For they are the spirits of devils working miracles, which go forth unto the kings of the earth and of the whole world in an oikoumene sense, meaning the whole planet, to gather them together, to gather them to the battle of the great day of the Most High Almighty. Behold, I come as a thief. Blessed is he, unawares, is he that watcheth and keepeth his garments. Now, the ones of you that have come into this truth and you have went back into the world, you're not watching anymore. You done convince yourself that that was all a waste of time. And that's why you're going to take that chip. Well, if GMS is saying it, you know they don't know what the hell they're talking about. It's unless he walk naked. What does it mean by unless he walk naked? That's a whole topic in itself. Lest he walk naked. Meaning if you don't know you're Israelite, or if you know you're Israelite but you ain't doing the work and you think you're going to be saved just because you know you're Israelite, or if you was an Israelite and you was in the circle and you went out of the circle and you went back to being a Baptist, or you decided to be a Kemetic Negro, well, guess what? You're naked. And we see your nakedness. Is that lest he walk naked and they see his shame. And he gathered them together into a place called in the Hebrew tongue Armageddon. So this fall of your man Biden represents the fall of this goddamn place. Babylon has fallen and has become the habitation of devils. This will be the last one because I quoted the last scripture, which was Revelation 18, verse 2. Babylon is fallen. Biden is fallen. Jeremiah 50, verse 32. And the most proud, that's Esau, shall stumble and fall, and none shall rise him up. And I will kindle a fire in his cities, and it shall devour all round about him. And this is a great chapter as well, Jeremiah, the 50th chapter. Jeremiah 50, Jeremiah 51 makes me immediately think of Revelation, the 18th chapter. Revelation, the 18th chapter is a masterful chapter. You know, that's the end credit, so to speak. Anyway, with that, I'm going to say shalom.